It is 2026. It's a whole new year of the Screen Love Affair podcast, but joined by the same two beautiful faces that you've become accustomed to. Well, I'd say Brandon's beautiful face with his intentionally penciled mustache, which gets us into our big movie, Marty Supreme.
And for the viewers at home that are wondering, I'm actually Marty Supreme. This is when Marty ultimately just gives up on everything in his life and becomes a regular guy, just eating and vibing out and not trying to do too much.
And keeping the mullet. I see that. Keeping the
I,
mullet. He's
I
really
could
setting the
sacrifice
trend.
this to look more like our hot rat boy Timothée Chalamet, but I could not sacrifice the mullet. I also didn't pencil in the forehead, but I was thinking about doing that now just for
the
the
little
extra bit.
unibrow. It's an important part of the film.
It
Also,
was a
you
really
call him
important
Little
part.
Rat Boy, and if I have my way, Little Rat Boy with an Oscar this year for this
Yes.
movie.
So I'll pencil
Boom.
in just for the podcast because
Boom.
we all know the unibrow is making a rat boy comeback due to Timothée
Yeah.
Chalamet and his potential Oscar-winning performance. I'll smear it in a little bit.
Yeah. Schmear.
There we
Oh
go.
my God.
I am now Timothée Chalamet from Marty Supreme.
Man.
Again, Marty Supreme because I'm the obese version of Timmy Chalamet. So let's talk about Marty Supreme.
Marty Supreme. Well, okay, here's what I know about your take on this movie. I think that you liked it, but I think you liked it less than you should have, which we'll get into why I think that. But I do know for a fact that, now dare I say, former friend of the pod, Renata, hated this movie. And I really need to dig into your experience a little bit. I'll just preface this. I adored this movie. I thought it was amazing. The movie itself, it like kind of exceeded the expectations I had for it. And Timothée Chalamet met my expectations for it, which was that he delivers a performance worthy of winning the Oscar. So meeting those expectations is as good as this could have went. And despite hype, despite expectations, I loved this. I really have no significant gripes with it. And that's my spoiler-free take. So go see this movie. It is not playing in Owen Sound at the time of recording. So I'm so glad I got to see this before. And yeah, rush out to see this. It's doing really well on the box office, critically. I have high hopes for this come awards season.
All right. Yeah, to follow up with that, don't believe the hype. This is a great movie, but it's not a phenomenal film. Like, there's a lot to really appreciate about it. But man, between social media and this new cult of film influencer and, like, again, like the A24 letterbox crowd, I thought this movie was going to be peak cinema. It's pretty damn close. I'm not going to lie. I liked a lot of it. I would preface all the hate I'm bringing to this episode is on a 4 out of 5-star review. Like, really phenomenal movie, but the orange tennis balls, not a big deal. You think it's like the number one thing? You called them
tennis balls. They're ping pong balls, damn it.
Okay. The orange ping pong balls, you think that's going to be integral to the movie? No, it's a cool shot. It's a cool little thing. It's cool for the marketing. Doesn't come back around. That bothered me. I thought orange was a big deal.
That
Turns out it's
me.
not. Orange doesn't matter. Black t-shirts, white t-shirts, winning the championship doesn't matter. Yeah, to dial it in and get a little bit more structure in here. I really enjoyed the movie, but I did feel like I was wanting a bit more, or maybe over expecting, because I've heard just like a cult of everybody I know being like, this is phenomenal. And I don't know what it is, but people like have been saying like, oh, the good Safdie brother, like, you know, and I would agree this is far better than the Smashing Machine, but I feel like whatever Josh Safdie's lacking with his brother not being there, that may have been the 10% more I wanted. Again, not a lot. Like, it delivered so much to me, but I just, compared to Uncut Gems and Good Times, I was like, this is just a good Safdie movie. Like, it's not the best movie I've seen all year. So I don't know.
So is this a like or a love for you?
I'd still say that's tough. I would say like I would love it, but I think like with the expectations I had for it, normally when I love something, it meets all the expectations, and I come out just being like, what a beautiful time. But here, I think my expectations were so high because again of everybody just being like, oh, you got Tyler the Creator, you got Timothée Chalamet, you got was it Gwyneth Paltrow, like Kevin O'Leary, the guy from Shark Tank. I was like, phenomenal cast. There's some really great scenes. You know, as I'm saying this, because I'm trying to say I didn't like it, I did love the movie, but I think
Okay.
it is so far from perfect, and I can't wait to argue with somebody who thinks this is the next best film of the year, because I don't think it's that. I think it is a very phenomenal movie, but it is not the best movie of the year. I think Timothée Chalamet shines incredibly bright in this. And my last bit before I hand back the conch here, I think I saw a meme that was describing Timothée Chalamet taking all the roles that a young Al Pacino would have. And I'm like, that is so exemplified in this movie, the performance, the energy, the kind of like craziness and manicness to his actions. Like he is giving me young Al Pacino vibes. And the flip side of that coin too is like other male actors. So it's like Austin Butler is getting like young Brad Pitt or something like that. And it's just like trying to equivalate all the white boys of today's Hollywood zeitgeist to the old Hollywood. So, but yeah, no, Marty Supreme. It's a great movie, but I don't want to overhype it to anybody. I think if you wanted to see this movie, you would have seen it already. I think if you were on the fence waiting for more hype, you don't need it. It's exactly what you would expect from a Safdie brother. Again, better than Smashing Machine, but like I didn't fully I wouldn't say buy in would be the right term, but I didn't feel like I got that itch scratched, I guess, if that's my one way to defend it. Like I just, by the time the movie wraps up, I wasn't feeling fully like, wow, like I was just kind of like, what a fun, interesting ride. I enjoyed being on. I rooted for him. Um, but I didn't really fully click with it. And that being said too, this is like the most Brandon take I've had in a while, but it's young Timothée Chalamet, risen up MILFs and sleeping with married women only, exclusively, all movie. And he's a dirty dog. He's like, just like such a selfish dude. Got real like terrible moral core to him. Like I was bought in pretty well. Like as far as like I liked the character. My girlfriend did not, but I was like, I love Timmy in this. This is so peak male performance. So I
There's
definitely
so
found
much
reasons to
to
like.
unpack in this with everything you just said. I'm okay. I think I'm going to blame two things for your point of view. One, your marketing. You need to get out of this marketing bubble. The fact that you brought up, it was your first point you brought up was the ping pong ball. It is a single scene in the movie, the one they show in the trailer, and that was the first gripe that came to your mind.
Okay, well, hear me out.
Is is blowing you out because
I
of
gotta
I get
defend that.
why from the marketing if
From the
all you're
marketing.
caring about
They took the Las Vegas
it's
sphere and turned
marketing.
it into the Marty Supreme ping pong ball. Well, he was the first person in human history to stand up top it to promote the movie. So in my head, especially when they do the opening on the ping pong ball, where it's like, orange would be way better because white, you'll lose tracking on the white shirts. That's why black doesn't come back ever again. It's never important ever again. It does have no value or meaning. It was just a thing they threw in there. And that's my gripe, I think, is they just threw stuff in this movie that was cool, but like, why does it ever need to come back or pay off? I don't know, Josh Safdie.
Well, we're going to dig into that in the spoiler half, but the other part I'm going to blame is Renata because I think you can, if you I can't well like I messaged her because I saw her Instagram and was like, there's no way you can call this movie a low light of 2025. That is absolutely an insane take. But I
Oh,
think
she was cheese leaving the
ironically,
theater on New
I
Year's
think
Day. She was
that
like, God, what a terrible.
I think she's more right in her read of the character for most of the movie, though. Like the fact that you were like, I was rooting for him the whole time. I'm like, I guess in a way, like you're kind of hoping for him, but like he is not a likable character. He does a lot of like awful things. Um, and like even like little awful things like again I know we'll cover more of them in the spoiler half, but like yeah, not a likable character, and then has an interesting moment towards the end that like to me really kind of brings the movie together in a way that like I was impressed with when I saw it. um but yeah, I don't want to I don't want to straw man Renata when she's not here to defend her positions. But
She's in the other room. She did
you,
say, "Come get
but
me if you need it."
the thing you need to stop doing, bro, is you need to stop getting into the marketing of stuff. I can't believe we're kicking off 2026 with a Monkey 2.0 here because, because I don't know. Well, okay, I think we should just dive in a little bit because yes, I think at the very least, I think both of us are a clear recommendation to go see this, experience it. Maybe in Brandon's case, temper your expectations a bit. And I would actually say to co-sign that you don't want to overhype any movie. I was super worried going into this screening that I was in that boat of like, will I be too overhyped? It had been in like a festival circuit, then it like had built up, and so like I got to see it before it was released, so maybe I that extra few weeks was a difference maker too, because the hype for it did get bigger once it came out and everything. But yeah, definitely go see the movie if you can. I think at the very least it's worth your time, even if you come out not liking it like Brandon or Renata. But
To
we'll
be
dig into that.
fair, before Christmas, like I was really into it, and then between Christmas and New Year's, I was so bought into how good it would be, including you texting me that this is like one of the greatest, and you're really excited to talk about it, goes a long way because normally you're like really good at like sealing your lips about anything, but the fact you're like, bro, you got to see it so good. I was like, okay, it's gonna be great. Can't let me down. And then I was the guy with like what was like a stock X like $400 Marty Supreme windbreaker jacket in my shopping cart, and then I saw the movie and I'm like, glad I didn't pull the trigger on that one. Again, not bad, but my overhype was so paramount to the viewing experience maybe not being as ideal. So, also on a small note before we get into the big spoilers, I got to see this in a 70 millimeter screening, which I thought was going to be like game changing. Um, I
Oh.
saw Sinners in 70 millimeter IMAX, and then I guess I saw this movie in just 70 millimeter, which is I think a fancy way of saying an old screener in one of our other
It's
theaters in
film.
Toronto
It's
here.
on film.
It's on film, but like yeah, the expectation there too was also not met. Where it was the film projected version, and I honestly couldn't tell you the difference if I was seeing that. Like I saw it in the same physical theater. I saw Mickey 17. It's a big old theater. Also, I saw a Joker 2 of Folie à Deux. So like I saw it in the same theater where I was just like, it's a nice screen. It's an old theater with like sunk down seating and stuff. But yeah, it's just our old theater in this Cineplex where they can project 70 mil. So as a note, I thought I was going into like 70 mil IMAX, and I just got regular 70 mil, and it was fine. But again, I was overhyping, thinking I'm seeing this the way the Safety bro wanted me to see it, and it was just
And you
yeah,
still kind of
whatever.
loved it, so I think that's proof case that this is one of the best
Yeah,
movies of
I
the year.
did. I did love the movie. I did like it a lot. I don't think I would say I
You're
love
on
you as
that
a
line between I really like and I
yeah. If
love.
you watch a lot of dating shows like I do, the couples are
Oh,
like they're like, oh, I really like him, or like I love him as a person. I'm there. I love him as a person. The movie. I don't want to say Marty Supreme, I love you. I say Marty Supreme, I love you as a movie. Like you know what I mean? I think that's the difference. I don't think I could say I love you to Marty Supreme, but I could say I love you as a film, Marty Supreme. So without further ado, let's dig into some of the spoiler heavy talk. Uh, Tell me what really worked for you, and tell me what scene really bought you in or made you go to that extra 10 out of 10. Was it something with the ending or
it wasn't even so much the like honestly it was the whole thing in its entirety, like so many of the beats as it was going, like I was just kind of locked in at the start and then just became more locked in. And I think like a lot of it is actually, I think, maybe with the pacing and the structure, like just the beginning of the movie and seeing him this confident, and it was paced so well that you see him just dominating, and you're like, wow, like okay, he's talking mad shit. He's saying some crazy things.
I'm
Like
going to
he
drop another
takes like
bomb on Japan at the tournament
right.
tomorrow. Got such a
Like
rise.
the
Yeah.
bomb on the Japan, like he was talking because this movie also takes place, I think it was in the the early 50s, and it's like right after World War II, and he's making like Holocaust comments to reporters, and
Yeah.
like he himself is Jewish, but like, you know, is using that as like to take shots, and like about a guy that he's like he's having lunch or dinner or whatever with, and it later in the movie. So like it was just like I felt like that opening really just kind of was a perfect amount of like I didn't see this like sort of rags to riches bit. We see him at his high point at the start. Yeah, he's
Yeah.
really like at his best kind of, but already they were like undercutting it a little about like this trip and he needs to go. So like I thought they handled all of that really well, and then every beat that the movie hit, like I think I cheated and I checked your letterboxd, but I saw that you said like you thought it could have been shorter. I really don't know that there's anything specific I would have taken out in the same way
Oh, don't
that
worry, I'll tell you.
yeah, you'll tell me. But this was like uncut gems. I know like everyone's giving it a lot of comparisons for the reasons, but I think in that same way where like the build of that, like that whole movie is so important like for itself, and that seems really stupid, but it's like where movies will get away with like, oh, it had one brilliant moment and that's what made it the whole thing. Like to me, if like if you change anything, if you take one of the gambling beats out of Uncut Gems, it really impacts the rest of the movie. And I felt this way. Every obstacle, every challenge, everything that goes wrong felt like, oh my God, like it really compiled to build this anxiety and this stress that you're feeling for this character who's just like blindly determined and unfazed in a sort of a different way than Adam Sandler's character in Uncut Gems. And like for me, I think what I liked more too again at the end was when he sees his son like all of this happens, and it's not to me like people are like I've read stuff about like, oh, it's trying to redeem him and it's all this other stuff. I'm like, it's definitely not like, you know, like it's definitely not overdone to me. It was something that it's like I've heard a lot from friends that I know that have had kids or even my dad, and like people talk. It's like when you see your son for the first time, your kid for the first time, your life changes. And like I really do feel like, you know, the movie ended on that note, and I thought that was brilliant. I'm glad it didn't be like, and then he changed and now he's like a stay-at-home dad. Like they just go to some dramatic extreme. We just see that moment where he sees his kid, and then the rest is kind of up to us as an audience to sort of parse out what we think is in store for him in the future. But yeah, no, like this to me, like I genuinely I have no gripes about this. I thought Kevin O'Leary, I was worried. I'm like, as a stunt casting, and I say stunt casting, it really isn't when the Safdies do it. They really seek out people that they think feel authentic, and I think they do that all the time. Like his best friend, if you can even call him that, that big guy. That was like he's never acted in anything before. Like he, like I haven't seen the full interview, but like just a clip of him, and he was just like he went viral from a clip of him like at like a Mets game or something like that, and they
Right,
saw
right.
that and put him in this movie and
Yeah,
stuff like
the
that. So
nepotistic child that gets the orange tennis
yeah,
balls and then gets equally used
ping
and
pong balls,
abused.
but
Sorry.
I think you constantly saying tennis balls is gonna undermine your opinions enough that it's really gonna elevate my no, I'm just teasing. But yeah, like
Yeah.
he's like a random dude, and I thought Kevin O'Leary as a casting, and like my instinct, like, oh, that seems like a weird stunt casting is what you would assume. And he was perfect for that role. And I've even seen people like tweeting about like I actually like hate why like how good
How
Kevin
good he
O'Leary
is, how
is
Mr.
for
Wonderful
this
is.
movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
so all of it worked.
Similarly,
All of it worked for me.
yeah, I'd say similarly too. It's like Kevin O'Leary, Mr. Wonderful, a Canadian icon as well. The best part with Kevin O'Leary there, I would say, are like similarly, like Tyler the Creator. I think was somebody that I saw like in some of the marketing and hype for the movie. I actually thought he was really good in it. He was like another pool player, and like, you know, he brought some of his own kind of like chops and just like believability to like kind of this underground pool hustler world and stuff. But my girlfriend, again, the hot take and somebody who didn't like the movie at all, was like, oh, good. I'm glad they gave a nice springboard to the acting career of Tyler the Creator and Kevin O'Leary. And I was like, well, truthfully, like I thought they were both like really good. Like, I'm glad they
They
didn't
were.
try to cast, some actor to fill those roles. In fact, if anything, it would probably expect more out of them, but I expected so little because I'm like, oh, the reality TV investor guy and the rapper who hasn't acted before. Similarly to having like ASAP Rocky and If I Had Legs, I Would Kick You. I just thought I was like, oh, it's a really neat choice and like kind of fun likability that comes from knowing who they are and seeing them try to be this dramatic role too. So I really liked it. I would say the scene that I thought they could have cut, or like a story beat that I think they could have diminished to save us at least 15 minutes of screen time, the missing dog plot. I really think that could have been toned way, way down to out of the movie almost. Like I see there's a world where, and this is like a crazy, without context, if you haven't seen the movie, this is going to sound like a fever dream. But when Timothée Chalamet's bathtub falls through the roof and crushes that guy's arm and the dog in the tub, um, instead of giving him the tourniquet and him being like, take my dog and some of the money out of my briefcase or whatever, he just falls through the roof and that guy gets crushed or he's not there or like he's pinned down. And then Timmy just takes some money he finds off the countertop and then goes to gamble it at that, bowling alley in New Jersey or whatever. And we just skip the whole subplot where the dog ends up with the farmer and then he's trying to get the dog with the, like his girlfriend playing it, like that added another big layer of drama and stuff. But it felt compared to what I was really excited and invested in, which was again like the love triangle with Kevin O'Leary's wife and getting to play in Japan again and dealing with his own like girlfriend issues and his own friend issues. It was just like, let's just throw another thing. There's a mobster and a farmer with a gun and both want him dead and they're going to get the dog.
By the way, the farmer was Penn Jillette. I don't know if you caught that. Like
No, I
he
didn't
was
catch that.
like the magician guy. Yeah, that
Okay.
was because I saw it in the opening credits. I'm like, Penn Jillette's in this movie.
Oh,
But
interesting.
anyway,
Yeah, I
yeah.
didn't
So
clock that
he's
at all.
the magician, half of Penn and Teller. So once again, another like really I thought inspired
Deep
choice
cut.
because he played that really well. No,
Yeah,
okay,
well,
so let me dig into
but I
that
mean, you see what
because
I mean, though. I feel like
no, I
there's already so
disagree
much going on.
absolutely. That's the point of these movies though, man. Like it's I like see the thing with this like that plot specifically, it's like it's
It feels like
also
the
part of an
least important.
exciting incident, but it's all again, if you take that out, so much of the pressure on this character is taken away. Like it becomes a thing that gives him more and more challenge as time goes on. His I don't even call her a girlfriend, whatever. One of the women he is sleeping with is going on, and like to even call, like I know like I'm just like oversimplifying the words, but like the romance, if you could call it that either, with Gwyneth Paltrow's character is not that at all. Like he boasts. It's when he's feeling his biggest and boldest, and then afterwards, it's really become just a means to an end for him. Like he's using her. He like unclasps the necklace
The
while they're in the
costume
shower.
jewelry.
Yeah, like thinking it was real and all this. So like but like no, to me this is like that is like one of the utilities of the plot that is constantly there. Like it never overstayed. It wasn't like it was a huge like and now we have to do with this. It was one of those things that like littered and linked and came back and disappeared because he's trying to do a different thing and he's trying to do this other thing. And it's the same kind of example to me of like if you remove like one of the major bets in Uncut Gems. Like it just takes away some of the pressure. And it just became like another one of those things where it's like actions and consequences. Like he does things and they blow up in his face later. And it's like, if you hadn't have just done this and if you had done things differently, like it all kind of compounds. And I think like, that to me is the experience of these movies. Like these are not the kind of movies that again, not to just harp on the concept, but like you can't scroll and watch. This is not a second screener in the same way Uncut Gems is. Like you have to lock in for that whole thing because to me, like there's not an ounce of fat in this movie at all. I would not argue And it's certainly that part, at least. I'm trying to think of other things that I think could have been
I
cut,
definitely don't
but
think it's fat, but I do think it is like a nice extra like lamb chop next to your lobster and steak. Like, you know, it's a little too much, but not in an overwhelming sense of like the anxiety trip, but I just think like you could really just save 10 minutes of screen time, because what I wanted to get at was, unlike Uncut Gems, where that is just an anxiety trip about a gambler. The gambler is not good at gambling. He's not good at he's good at like self-preserving. He's good at like, but he doesn't have an actual skill set, where I think this movie succeeds in a greater capacity, because Timmy is actually the goat at table tennis, at ping pong, and seeing him win, and like I say the sporting element of this, seeing an athlete aspect, which is kind of a bit in the movie. Um, I was really impressed with that. Like I again, Renata leaving was like, oh, they're just showing us fake an outcome of a ping pong game. Like, what do I care? But I was like, every time the Japanese guy went to go serve, I was like, oh my god, like, because like, that serve
yeah,
was
they were
diabolical. Like
great.
the way he would chop it like that. Like if I was at a house party, and I saw that, I would just start putting money down. Like I would be like, that guy's too much. And so like, even though it's, you know, a movie, seeing the technical element of getting some of those ping pong games looking as real as they did, and then having, you know, again, some stuff down to like the way the Japanese guy holds the pen of the ping pong paddle and does those serves, like the crafting of those ping pong scenes in all aspects, being even like when they're gambling in the bowling alley, and when they're doing you know, like the underground tournaments and like all that type of stuff. I really thought like the athleticism on display with the ping pong was so good. So I was really rooting to get back to see more of that, or like see our boy in his element again. That I think I felt like I wanted less of the catch me if you can, like kind of crime thriller aspect, to get a little bit more back to the traditional world we bought in at, which was him on his uprise with the ping pong. So
But I think that's just saying, like, I don't want the movie to be what the movie was. Like, the whole point, like, the character wanted to get to that same point, right? Like, that's the whole thrust of the movie, is that he's trying to get there. He's trying to get into the tournament. He's trying to beat this guy that beat him at the beginning. But that is like his dream. That's his goal. That's his vision. The movie, though, is that in between part, like how hard he's trying to get there, through mostly undercutting means, right? Like even when he dismisses Kevin O'Leary's proposal about the, like, I'll bring you in, we can do an exhibition match. Like,
mm,
if he had have just agreed to that at the beginning,
life
but
would have been
the
fine.
money
Yeah.
wasn't enough. It wasn't good enough of a deal for him at the time. And then, he would have begged for that, and what he had to do to get on the plane. So, like, I don't think you're wrong to feel that way at all, because I think, like, that's the main driving force of the whole film, is that he's trying to get to the plane. He's trying to just live a life where he can play ping pong, and that's his life and career. That's his dream. That's what he wants to be doing. But I think the fact that those beats are so good, like, I agree with you wholeheartedly. Like, the fact that I was, like, really invested even at this first one at the beginning, like, they're super intense. Like, one other thing too about that is that I love the contrast of the characters, like him versus his Japanese counterpart. He boasts, he talks, he's so vocal, he can't shut up, frankly. And then you get his character who is deaf and can't hear.
Mm.
And like, I was like, there's like, evidently that was something. And I thought, like, the complete contrast of them and their style, and like,
Well,
was
while we're
super
on that beat,
fascinating.
I gotta say one of the big hater comments I've heard about this movie that I think is like valid is the follow-up movie, if not the actual movie Marty Supreme, maybe should be about the Japanese guy that got his eardrums blown out in the war and became a national hero ping pong champion. That sounds like an equally phenomenal movie. You do miss all the seediness and the safety elements, but for like a traditional movie, like a traditional like sports rags to riches story, that is the traditional protagonist. It's the guy that lost his hearing in the war, has a humble sensibility, and then becomes a national hero, winning a sport that he loves against the Americans who just bombed them years prior. So it's like there's a real underdog traditional sports protagonist story in the antagonist of Timmy's flick, which was obviously, what was the guy's? It was like I forget the character's name, but yeah, like the
Yeah, I
deaf
don't.
Japanese guy, his story was like in a traditional sense the better one. Like he's the real hero, and
But
that's the beauty
again,
about
I
a
think,
Safdie film. It makes you
yeah.
follow these crook guys and these crook situations, and again, like I got a kick out of it. I loved every bit of it. When the scene when he's trying to riz up Gwyneth Paltrow. And he's like, what side of the courtyard are you looking at? You looking at the street, the courtyard? Yeah, okay, look outside. You see that table full of apples over there? He's like, I'm gonna make one more apple appear on that table. And then everyone like goes silent in my theater. And then obviously he throws it from like whatever balcony he's standing on further up, and it smashes through the window and everything goes flying. And I swear the dudes next to me laughed about at that scene for the continuation of 5 minutes into the next scene. Like that was probably the best bit for my theater, was like the whole apple appearing thing. So again, like it's good, but yeah, I just wanted to have that little bit in there that it's like, yeah, in theory, a traditional movie. Like if Steven Spielberg made Marty Supreme, it would be about the Japanese guy with like his blown eardrums from the war coming back to defeat the Americans after their country was bombed, and now he's like a hero of the land. I just thought that
Well,
was
but
like
I
such a
think,
funny inverse.
yeah, but that again, like this is all contributing to the thing that, like, to me makes this movie so interesting is like, not that he's the villain, but like he is the heel. Like he's even the heel literally in Japan, where he's like, he was the heel before, right? He's dropping these comments about his opponents that are his friends or as close to friends as he is capable of having. And like, yes, like by the numbers, like we're following the guy that's like, yeah, like the heel. He's really not a good dude for the whole runtime. Like I don't think he actually really does much of positive stuff at all in the movie. But one of the things that I feel like I've seen a lot of, not a lot because I think most people really like the movie, but one of the takes I find that I've seen a few times at least was that people, like, because they don't like the character, then
Yeah,
that they don't like the movie. And I'm like, that's such a,
it's very
like,
childish for sure.
right, like it's such a primitive way to look at something. Like it's like he's not meant to be a hero. He's not meant to be a good guy. Like it's a really kind of like, yeah, like be challenged a little bit. Like I said, like I do think there's a fact that like I did really want him to get there. And then every time he does something shitty, I'm like, bro, like
Bro.
why? Like, and you're like just making it so much worse. And
Well, that's kind of
like
the thing that Adriana says too, is like it's so hard to watch a character make bad life choices for two
yeah,
hours straight. And this one I definitely feel it. And I think a part of it is because I'm like, he's the goat at table tennis. Just like, really, dude, like stop causing yourself so much grief if you can help
yeah.
it. And he can't. And you're like, ah,
But he
come on.
can't, and
So
that's
he
the
can't.
thing that
That's what's fascinating.
it's the compulsion, and that's why I think like I like I hate doing it because I know it's like it seems like the easiest thing, but like there's an obvious through line between these movies. And I think like, yeah, it's that compulsion. Like he can't just shut up, like just stop being such a shit talker, like stop being such a heel, like stop being it. But it's him and it's what
Yeah.
he is, and it's
Well,
like one of
even when
those
he has that
things is like,
apology to Kevin O'Leary, where he's just like,
yeah,
he's trying to apologize. He's like, I was just trying to be myself, and this is how I am. Like I can't stop
yeah.
talking. I can't, be antagonistic every time I open my mouth. Like I was ungrateful. I was trying to be myself, and it wasn't funny. Like it was so sincere, even though that sounds like an insincere like
Yeah.
apology. You definitely clocked that is him, like really like paying the toll that he's made for himself. So,
How
um,
did you feel when the girl or girlfriend, whatever, reveal of the fake black eye?
oh, dude, I was so jazzed. I was like, because I think my girlfriend, who was like not a fan of Timmy being such a scumbag, kind of like in what we were just talking about, I was like, they deserve each other. That was so well played. That was like, and he says earlier in the movie, like, she's always been trying to trap me. Are you sure she's not trying to do it again with his baby? Like, and that was just one line. And then when the black eye reveal happens, and it's funny, the closest thing we get to Timmy being like an actual good guy, like, in screenwriting they have like the saving the cat moment. He gets the save the dog moment and fucking loses the dog. So it's like,
Yeah.
what's his moment where we're like, maybe he's not such a bad guy after all. And it is the black eye, where he sees the black eye and he immediately goes back to his old apartment, goes down to the neighbor, her husband, and beats his face in with a trophy. And then, yeah, for her to not have that black eye, it was like, well done. You feel her being one of the many friend to victim pipeline of Timmy throughout the movie,
Yeah.
of Marty. And when that reveal happened, it wasn't so much like this gut punch of like, oh no, Timmy's been manipulated. I was like, oh dude, that's like they will end up together now. I now know they're equally deserving of each other's terrible, terrible version of love. Like I thought that was poetic. Yeah, I really like that.
Yeah, I thought it was a great little bit because I wondered it like when it happened. I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh shit!" And then like as soon as he went down to like wail on the guy, I was like, "Oh no, I wonder if this is gonna be like." So I was staring for it, eh? Like every scene
Yeah.
afterwards, I was looking at him, like, is this looking like, is it less visible? Is it less there?
Yeah.
And then yeah, the reveal, I was like, "Oh," and like yeah, it was just like again, there was all those beats as it goes on where I was just like, and you mentioned the apology bit with Kevin O'Leary, like when he bends him over and paddles him in front of all the guys, like the humiliation ritual of it all, like
Which to clarify, we talk about overhyping and the marketing. I saw probably 12 separate people and places post that Timothée Chalamet denied a ass stunt double for the paddle scene with Kevin O'Leary. He said if there's someone that's going to have their iconic ass immortalized on TV, it better be his for that scene. And so I knew that as a spoiler going into the movie that he gets paddled by Kevin O'Leary. And for me, half the fun of the movie was trying to figure out how he ends up getting it. And ultimately, he got it in the most obvious, easy way, like the apology, kind of like humiliation kink. I thought it was going to be because he finds him banging his wife and he's a cuck and he's like, I'm going to pal you while you cuck my wife. That was like my like lock. Like I would have jumped out of my seat being like, yes, I am the greatest screenwriter. I knew exactly where they were going with it. But then when it ended up being like, I'm just going to slap you and then I'll see you on the plane in the morning, I was like, okay, like fun scene, but it was ruined for me because I had these expectations again, seeing the marketing about how iconic that scene would be and how he didn't take the stunt double. So, uh, it was a good scene. I had that as another layer of overhype going into the movie that there's going to be the most iconic ass smacking shot in recent
can
history.
I just
So
like ban you like a week leading up to a movie we're excited to see? You're just not allowed to be on social media, I think is
that would
what
just be
the
a permanent
takeaways
ban.
are.
I'm excited to see a movie
Yeah, I
like every
know.
other week.
I know, but maybe that's a good. So we should limit our social media consumption because we
You'd
can't
be
have
like
2025 and 2026 be the year of expectations, Brandon. We
you'd be like
can't. We
you'd be
can't
like, hey,
keep doing this.
you'd be like, hey, Brandon, Hamnet 2's coming out. You can go on Instagram again. Like,
Yeah, there will.
um,
I honestly, it's funny because it's almost like chronically consuming marketing and social media. You can't help it. This is your
oh, I love
uncut.
it.
This is your safety movie. Okay, is that we can't unplug you enough from technology to not give yourself too many
I know I'm
expectations for
sitting here. I'm
movies.
like, just do you see the odds on Timothée Chalamet getting his ass spanked? I was also seeing like people making like Polymarket bets on which characters in Stranger Things die in the finale, and the whole time had like the spreadsheet out, like because again I'm the Marty Supreme of the Safdie universe.
Oh my
They can find me in 20 years.
But
Uh,
I want to dig in more on the things that either you or Renata, I want to know more about what held this back because again, like I don't have, like, again, I like when I finished it, I want to see it again, to be fair, but there was nothing when I finished this that I was like, oh, I wish
all
this
right.
was gone. I
I'm
wish that
gonna
was not that.
I'm gonna
I
hit
like,
you with some big normie shit right here, okay?
oh God.
Uh I didn't feel like the movie was like super well bookended. Like nothing established at the start ever really came back, and there was like no Chekhov's gun. Again, I thought they were introducing the ping pong ball, and that would be his way to beat the Japanese guy at the tournament. Because you'll notice in the final scene in their exhibition match where they get the rematch and it's all for nothing kind of thing, the Japanese guy's wearing a white golf shirt, which was like his kryptonite, where he was like, this is why like we can't wear white, we should make it a bigger, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
like they mentioned early in the movie, like the whole white shirt thing, the ping pong ball thing, like it seemed like it was a thing. And then the finale, there's no ball, which how would there be? Why would you care? I almost thought it'd be a point where he would have his Marty Supreme ball from his friend that he like, you know, ruined his life, and he would use that to get the edge in the final match or something. Doesn't happen. I maybe again because I'm saying I wanted more normie level. You know, here's the MacGuffin from earlier. Enjoy your cake, sir. Like, but the ball never comes up. It was a big introductory thing. It was a big thing in the marketing, and the white shirt thing never really comes back up either. So I just was kind of expecting there to be a little bit more of like a payoff or a callback or like something our character and us, the audience, learned earlier, maybe coming back through at least once, maybe not the finale, but like somewhere along the way to give him the edge. It really felt like this character, uh, it was just kind of like he was the worst guy, but he was just surviving because he was just doing all the work. You know what I mean? Like it just, there was no like, oh, what a smart move, or like, oh, that thing paid off that he was aware of. So that was like, again, I'm saying I still love the movie, but like that's just one of those things that I thought would have really taken this to that next, like, like, oh, there it is. There's the thing that, we talked about for 10 minutes at the start of the movie. There's a thing that the friend brought up 2/3 into the start of the movie. Like, and it just never came back around. It's a nitpick. I'm aware it's a nitpick.
You kicked that off by saying it was a normie brain take, and I'm gonna say it is part of the, like, you've been seriesified, you've been MCUified of like, oh, it's the gem from the last movie, dude, it's coming back. And I think, like, for me, the thing with the ping pong ball and the orange ball was, once again, I think that happens right at the beginning and is part of, I think, setting up this, like, it's making him seem like such a big deal. It's like, oh, he's getting ball, like, and like it's presented as if like he's got a business manager guy talking to his big money dad, and they're trying to get this all financed. Like, it's presented at this rise where we think like he's a big deal when he's sitting at the head of the table, surrounded by these reporters that are like, oh my God, what do you think? Like he's this huge deal. It's this big deal. And I think the utility of the balls was not that it should have come back to like be useful at the end, because if anything, I think that would undermine the kind of purpose of the movie. The thing with the ping pong balls was, once again, a usury aspect of this relationship with his friend. Like, I think he says like, you're my best friend or whatever, and like he's clearly just using this guy, and it was about him doing another idea. It's like it's all part of his ego, and it was all sort of this thing. So like, I feel like it would undermine kind of the spirit of the movie if one of these kind of vanity projects, and maybe it had validity and stuff like that, but this vanity project to come back and be something that he can use at the end, I think would have undercut the movie a bit. But like, to me, that was really the purpose of that aspect. And then when they like are fighting and they fucking, all the balls like fall out the window or whatever, the kid guy, or did he throw them?
He
Whatever it
threw
was,
him.
like, yeah, he
Yeah.
throws them all out the window, and so then they're like all scattered and lost. It was like, yeah, like that really, I think, was more of that. And like, again, kind of exemplifying like the shittiness again of Chalamet's character, who, like, this is a kid that like risked, familial stuff and strife, and really put himself out on a limb for his friend. And then for that all to kind of go up in smoke, I think was emblematic of what really the movie was getting at. And it's like, like, again, like, that's why I think, to me, cutting out the angle of the dog and all of that is really like one of those things. It's like he just had a simple thing. He could have leveraged it if that went well. Like, could this guy have backed him? Like, he had the money. Like, is this could this have all gone differently if he just did what he should have done and all of that? But even the fact that the dog ran away when it did and all of that was like, all of it was consequences of previous things that he did. So like,
Yeah.
again, this is really one of those movies where I feel like everything is connected in a way that totally works. Like, I would definitely argue that I don't think there's anything that doesn't ultimately like serve some purpose throughout, even if it's not the big showy sports moment where he's like, well, okay, you beat me again, but let's use the Marty Supreme ball and then I smoke him. Like, like, I feel like
That's what
that
I, the
would not be the
normie, demanded.
catharsis.
Yeah, like he's like, you've got your half wood, half foam paddle Japanese thing. I got an all American BPA plastic ball right here. and it's the Marty Supreme ball, and then then you hear the da, 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 and it's like the Avengers theme song. Anyways, no, I totally get that. I do see your point. Like that was why I was a nitpick, was I felt like in a movie so big and full and good of everything, where could you shave 5 minutes? And is it the 5 minutes where they're setting up the ball for what gag? The gag that it gets
Well,
thrown
let
out the
me ask,
window?
like,
You know?
so okay, you said you need to shave 5 minutes. Like, did you feel it was slow? Like, did you felt the drag?
I
Like,
felt
you
the
had
length a little
issues with
bit.
the pacing? Okay.
I think the first act of the movie, the first third, was 5 out of 5 perfection. I was so bought in. I was like, hell yeah, this is it. This is great. Second act, once we started realizing where the movie was going, as far as like just spending basically the first quarter of the movie playing ping pong and the last quarter, and then somewhere in the middle he does it again, but it's in between, just, and that's like at the pool hole or whatever, getting
The
the
bowling
gambling stuff,
alley.
the bowling alley,
Yeah.
and then he gets those guys from like Newark or whatever. But once you realize like that middle section of the movie is just kind of like this version of like the uncut gems, like he's just making one bad deal after another. It felt like Timothée Chalamet as Marty Supreme had like a 3-star GTA Wanted level the entire movie. Like if you think about it, like his uncle originally coming back for
Yeah.
like the robbery charges, beating the guy up, breaking an entry, doing that thing with the dog, the gambling thing, the gas pump thing. They broke into that gas station to pump their car at one point. Like
Yeah.
felt like he had at least like a 2 to 3 star wanted level in Grand Theft Auto at all times. And it was just like, God bless pre 9/11 travel, where you could just board a plane while there's like, you would be arrested on the spot if anybody ever looked at your face in like the small neighborhood of New York that he
Yeah.
lived in. But yeah, I do, again, I like the tension of that. Like it did always feel like he was on the back foot. And every time he got ahead, like every time, even when Gwyneth Paltrow gives him that necklace, and then he ends up like, taking her down outside without being too graphic. And then getting caught by the police, and then it's gone again. And it's like, hey, can you give me another one? She's like, okay. And then it's like, yeah, the anxiety, like fever dream that we want out of a Safdie movie was met. It was, those expectations were met. Um, but yeah, I did feel the runtime dragging a little bit, specifically only near the end, like the very, very end. Once he had like made the argument about like getting his final game of table tennis in with the Japanese champion, saying, this time it has to count for real, it has to count. Renata said there's real little brother energy of Timothée Chalamet being like, no,
Yeah.
that doesn't count, I wasn't ready. And he does that like throughout the movie a lot, when he's even gambling those guys at the place in New Jersey, where he's like, I
Yeah.
wasn't looking, come on, he's a champ, and he's like playing this character. So yeah, I had that big loser, little brother energy of like, no, like I get one more, and I don't even care if I get in trouble. Like I get one more, please. And he lets him do it, and he wins by the skin of his teeth. And his everything is met. His desire to be the champion, to redeem himself, it's all met, but it's all for nothing ultimately, other than his ego being satisfied, which is the point of this character and this like head canon character study. But just thinking about the reality of all these choices, all the buildup, where it's going, when he won, and in that moment, I was like, this movie either ends right here, right now, and we get those like title cards where it's like, yep, Marty moved on to go live in Japan for 20 years. Like it was just gonna, like it was gonna end right then and there. Or I was like, oh no, is there 45 more minutes left of this movie? And reality was there's maybe about 10 or 15 from that point once he wins. He gets back on the plane with the troops, which the real life story of this guy is actually phenomenal. And we should bring it up before the end of the episode. Um, he flies back with the military, and then he goes to see his baby mom's in the hospital, who's just had the kid. And then he goes and he sees the kid, and it's like the pacing of that scene where there's not a lot being said. There's just slower lines of dialogue being delivered. I was like, oh, weird. Are they bringing us in for landing here? Are we going to end the movie here? I want it to end because I'm starting to feel like this movie is like gone on as much as I want to give it. um,
Yeah.
where are they going with this? And then when it does do the ending of like, he sees the kid, it's crying, he stops crying, they look at each other, and then it's just a hard cut to black. I was like, oh, good for them. They did what I wanted, just to end it there, because it was starting to feel a little long. I wasn't like sitting there 20 minutes left being like, oh God, hurry it up, this is dragging. But literally right at the end, when they were ending it, I was like, please, for the love of God, end. And it did. But then I'm also devil's advocate. I didn't feel that ending was that good to me. I didn't find a big payoff. I didn't find, not like I need all these answers, but it's like, oh, so you would assume he's going to be somewhat still mostly a scumbag, but he's a baby daddy who can't get a job, probably gets arrested from all the other previous things catching up with him. Again, that's a fun ending, but I was like, man, compared to that, again, the normie sports story, the rags to riches or like the highs and the lows, I was like, I don't even know where they go with this. And that's a beautiful thing. But I'm also like, I could have used a little more finality or a little bit more like ultimate, like, like I had to look him up after the movie to be like, what did Marty Mauser do after the movie? um, and it was funny because like the actual story of Marty Mauser, the ping pong was more the background. He was a lot more like a Catch Me If You Can type character. Like he was a lot more
It
of
was
that guy.
what was his actual name? Because
I think
wasn't
I
he a
think it was
different
Marty
name?
Mauser.
Oh,
Um,
Marty Reisman.
Reisman, yes. But yeah, he was importing stuff, doing some of these ping pong trips, and I guess he had like imported stuff on the U.S. Flights, like with the troops or whatever, because you don't have to do customs checks or anything like that.
Mhm.
So he was using like going like the USO tennis matches and stuff, or sorry, table tennis matches and doing that type of stuff to import goods and like wheel and deal out on the side. It was definitely more of like a like crime drama, I guess. And that's I think where even like my girlfriend and I were discussing was this the right call to have it be in both worlds so effectively, or should have it leaned more into one or the other? Should have been more table tennis first, ping pong champs first, with a little bit of crime drama, or should it be a total crime drama where aside from like one 5 minute Forrest Gump style ping pong montage, does it ever really come up? Because I definitely felt like there was a bit of it was so good at both. I definitely felt like I could have used like a little bit more of either, but the real life story definitely leans a lot more crime drama heavy, which is fascinating. So when the ending happens, I just felt like they were like, okay, this is a safe place to let you off the ride. We couldn't possibly continue this story, which again, it was a good ending and it was good, but definitely there's a layer there of like, I don't think they could have continued that story. Like that was so much crammed in there. I don't think like I don't know what they would have done with another 20 minutes of runtime. So
Well, I guess like I mean again, I kind of like wholeheartedly disagree because I think this is just in line with like what this movie was and like and to be clear it's I didn't hear that as you framing like well the movie I would have made would have been differently, but it feels like again I don't know if it's expectations or what the word is even the right one for this, but it's like it's not like to me this was so clearly like all of those like the way you explained it, if I feel like if I didn't see the movie I would think there's like a kind of tonal clash, like there's just all of a sudden this weird beginning and end that are the ping pong elements, and then there's like this sort of like side journey where in an essence like on a plot if you just read it, for example, if you just read the plot you're like what the fuck, but that really was so cohesive for me because it's really not even like to call it a rise. It's like we started seeing him again. He's already at the top of the mountain, and then we see him kind of drop right when he loses that match. And then I think that was sort of like the folly of youth a little bit, and like the song choice, like when the Forever Young
yeah,
needle drop hits, like
yeah,
that is so emblematic, and this is why like I'm gonna give this whole thing like so much more credit, and that's why I think the ending was so great because he is spiritually a child. He acts like a child, a talented child, but a child. Like he's usury, like it's manipulative, like he has no concept of risk, it's seemingly like he has no idea like when everything starts going wrong, like he doesn't appreciate that those things, like his decision making ability is horrific. Um and so like for me this is really sort of emblematic of that and like chasing a dream and like doing everything you can even if you're not a reasoned person that can make good decisions to help you accomplish your dream. He was like unabashedly who he was. But I think the thing about the ending that makes that so like the perfect ending of this story was that it is a now what? Like, what do you think? And I think like I don't I'm usually a guy, frankly, that prefers like I like to know what you think happened to that character and or at least like a very strong implication of what will happen with that character. And again, like I think I haven't experienced it. I don't have a kid of my own, but that was the evolution. That like he is different. How different, what range of that difference, like we don't know. And that's really, I think, up to us as the audience to decide. But that to me was like he's done it and he got what he wanted. And I think that that even is an interesting point because you talk about him winning that match. Like I don't know the technicalities of ping pong or whatever, but like he won like a round like
Yeah,
like a game or like a set or whatever. Like he
because in the
didn't
actual
win the
championship,
full. Yeah,
they
yeah, yeah. Like he,
they
it's like
played like
tennis or
multiple
whatever. Like
rounds.
yeah, like you
Yeah.
got to win 6 games or whatever. Like I don't know again all the terminology, but like it's like he won a round, right?
Yeah.
Not a game, and but that satisfied him enough in that moment, and
Well, because yeah,
so
part of me thought too, like in that ending when I was like, oh, I hope to God it doesn't go on another 20 minutes. I was worried the alternative was he beats the Japanese guy. The people that host the mainline tournament are there, and they see the crowd, and somebody talk no jutsus them and goes, "You see how important Marty Supreme is to the sport? You gotta let him play." And then now we do another 40-minute, like, again, rags to riches, him getting in the tournament, getting, reaccepted after the win and the exhibition match. I was really worried that we would then have 40 more minutes of tournament arc for him to win, like, the grand finale to give me
well,
what
but
I was saying would have been a better ending of like a more definitive thing. So I am glad they didn't do 40 more minutes of tournament arc and just ended it with like the birth of the first child because it does symbolically again. And again, I talk about bookending. It shows them conceiving the child at the title card drop on the Marty Supreme
oh, which was
fertilized
oh my
egg
God, we didn't
ball.
even talk
We
about
didn't even
that.
talk about that.
Watching little sperms going, like I was rolling when that was
Yeah, the whole
happening. I
theater
thought
was.
that was hilarious,
Yeah, yeah, and then when it
unbelievably great.
spins around, and then we get the Marty Supreme
Yeah,
ping pong ball on the fertilized egg, like that again, that
yeah.
set the tone really well. And so I guess yeah, to your credit too, where I was like, we didn't bookend enough. We literally started the movie. The
It
opening
is a
title
booking. Yeah, yeah.
was on semen and sperm fertilizing an egg, and then we
The
pivot
conception
to
of the baby and
the
then the
baby.
baby.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
you know what? Now that you said this, actually, I'm bumping it to a 4.2 on my letterbox
It's a
because this
4.18.
yeah,
No, no, no.
yeah.
But again, for the arc of this story, like I do think it's sort of fascinating that he finds that ending satisfactory. Like that he
Mm,
like and like it was just he got that round or whatever, and that was enough. And I think like again, the child part is like I'm really fascinated to think about and like I'm sure it'll be something like we can talk about over a beer or something one day when I force you to rewatch it and admit that it was the greatest film of all time. No, I'm kidding. But just to see that kind of end of, I think, like, to me, it was like the perfect, like, he thinks he got part of what he wanted, and it's like, now what? And now he sees that it's like sort of a transcendent moment for him. Like, we've never seen that level of like emotion from that character like that at all in the movie. And I thought,
no,
again, Timmy playing that was brilliant. And now it's like, okay, like, what does that guy's future look like? I genuinely don't know. And I like the fact that my read was like, if you had told me even 10 minutes before that scene where he sees the baby, I would have been like, no matter what, dude, this guy is doing this for the rest of his life and probably short lived life. But the effectiveness of that moment and the performance that Tibby lends that really did make me pause and be like, oh, like I think this is a genuine turning point for this guy that when it becomes those things, like I think he's so thoughtless in pursuit of a dream because it's just him. Right. He doesn't like his like, and you said like he's exclusively with married women. Like, I don't think that's coincidental. Like, because if he had a girlfriend, like if that girl was not married, if that was his
Oh
girlfriend,
yeah.
then he has to consider her, right? Or he
Yeah.
should. And he doesn't, because she's married to somebody else. And so, like, even
I
his family,
I
right?
do
Like, he
say, I do gotta
tosses his
say,
mom aside.
I love that at the start. I'm like, I love that he's only banging married women, dude. What a dog. I love him. And you're like, from a story perspective, this is really wild because it shows his lack of accountability. And I'm
Well,
like,
but
it's true.
that's the brilliance
We're
of movies,
yeah,
man. Like,
that's the
this
marriage of
movie
our
in
two
particular, like,
appreciations. Yeah,
he's like, again, like the way he tosses his uncle or whatever, like, who's just
yeah.
genuinely like an overwhelmingly nice guy. His mother, which you can't, like, they give you no real indication of how deserved his
I do like
reactions are.
how his mom is, because like, you know, when he says like that's something my mother would do, the first scene when like the lady's on the phone like, your mother's
Yeah,
sick, she's going pale, she really needs you. It's like,
tell
sounds
him
like you
I'm
should go
doing.
with her. And then she's like, tell him I'm sick. You know, I was like,
Yeah,
oh, this is like a family affair of just like
yeah.
manipulation. And like, and then when she manipulates him, I was like, just like his mother,
Or
they
even the
deserve each
uncle with
other.
the cop, like,
Yeah.
like,
How
that's
much is he
all
paying you? And then
staged.
as soon as he goes to the bathroom, he's like, here's an
Yeah.
extra 10. Thanks for your good work.
I think, like, for me, it was, like I said, impressive how much of this all feeds. And it's one of those movies that the more I thought about it, the more, like, all of these little things that seem just like almost like quirky character traits, like you said, the whole family to varying degrees, the girl in his life, that manipulation, like, it's all serves that thing. And again, the thing about the ending is now he has an undeniable thing. He has to consider somebody else. He can't. And I say he can't, like, like, as if I'm trying to be authoritative, but, like, no, he has changed. Like, him seeing that baby, like, he now no longer himself can do that and be that thoughtless and careless. And so I think it was really, it's not that he's not going to be, like, he's going to be now good. You can be aware and thoughtful and still make bad decisions. But I do think it really was the perfect kind of endpoint for that. And again, like, I'm an ending guy. I was really impressed with how satisfied I felt at the end of this movie. And, like, again, yeah, I just love it. I love it. So
Well, if it's any indicator of how much I loved it, there's like the meme again of like, sorry guys, I haven't seen a new movie this week, so I don't have a new personality yet. Or it's usually like, you know, it's like, oh, I just saw the new Ryan Gosling movie, new personality in progress, you know? And I was like, yeah, watch this movie. I'm like, I'm literally him. I'm literally Timothée Chalamet. I'm Marty Supreme. And that's why for the podcast, it's like, I got to draw my unibrow. I got to get the glasses. And yeah, I thought what a unforgettable character in cinema of this
yeah,
year. Like, again, I came in again, like I said, 4 out of 5, trying to be the hater this episode, but like, really, what an unforgettable performance of this year. Like, I don't know if it's my favorite movie of the year, but it is definitely one of the top movies of the year. And again, Timothée Chalamet as Marty is a far more interesting and fleshed out and selfish and like just far more interesting character than, like, again, like, I see put Sinners on a pretty high level, but it's like between Smoke and Stack, Timothée Chalamet blows him out of the water by being such a complex character we spend this whole movie with, versus, you know, a more traditional character or hero's journey kind of thing. Like, also, no one's gonna watch this and be like, well, actually, I think Smoke and Stack had their own thing going, like, you know. But yeah, I supremely enjoyed Marty Supreme, and it's definitely a movie I would recommend to a lot of people. As far as being like, again, that debate, I said like, oh, the better Safdie brother, you know what I mean? I really do think the combo of the brothers is definitely something that I feel like can't be discounted. I hope they get back together again for a project, because now that I think Marty was lacking, but I do think there was something there that I think like the combo of Ben and Josh Safdie would have given me that I didn't fully get here. And I definitely didn't get in the Smashing Machine, but like, I think like
yeah,
whatever, because even Ben Safdie too, he did The Curse this last year, or maybe 2 years ago now, The Curse with Emma Stone and Nathan Fielder. And that TV show, I think, is so peak, because it is a very similar cinematic Safdie experience, with a lot of voyeuristic camera angles and odd cuts and dialogue. But then you get that, like you said, their ability to kind of groom natural talent out of like picking stuff out of the carpet. Like, oh, Nathan
yeah,
Fielder, you make
authentic.
a great a great authentic guy. Yeah, exactly.
Well, one thing too, I want to do on the best actor thing. Like this, I think it's going to be a fascinating chase because I think the two front runners are Leo and Timmy. I think that's really it. I don't think anything else will come through like and like some like late surgeons for any other performances. But I think this is going to be a real the dynamic at play here is it took Leo forever to get an Oscar, and this is Timmy in a position where he deserves this. I fully believe this was the best lead performance of the year for a male actor.
I think so.
And the fact that it could go to Leo for a great, like I loved, like it would be my number 2 pick performance. But if it could be Leo who went from being the young guy that got his late Oscar to now be the actor that blocked the young guy from getting his deserved Oscar, would be a hilarious twist of fate. And if the Academy has the right head on their shoulders, Timothée Chalamet will win the Oscar. Please make it happen.
Mark that down. It is January 2nd, 2026 at 2:50 p.m. Shea Angus has predicted it first here on Screen Love Affair. Uh, but yeah, so on that note, speaking of perfect endings 5 minutes ago, the we always close out talking about some theater etiquette. I had a pretty great screening experience in 70 mil. It was again, like I think it was New Year's Day or New Year's Eve day. A lot of old people out, whatever. But there was one woman there, sat a few rows down from me, like to my right, and on her left arm, which is closest to me, she had like a Fitbit or it was an Apple Watch that every time I looked over, it would light up. And I didn't realize till near the end of the movie, around an hour and 46 minutes in, I would say, I noticed she had a heart rate of like 102, going on a light jog for an hour and 46 minutes on her wrist. So Marty Supreme was so intense for her, it activated her watch activated a light workout to track. And surely enough, at the end, I think when it was like 2 hours something, 2:01 even, I saw it maybe, it was still going, and it definitely lined up with roughly the first 5-10 minutes of the movie. Not like she walked there and it stayed on from the walk she was recording, but like it picked up after the Marty Supreme intro logo sequence. So yeah, a pro to the movies. It makes some older women have a light workout watching it, heart elevation wise, and pro to theater goers, maybe put your Apple Watch on theater mode or don't wear a Fitbit to the movie theater. Thanks so much.